Let's talk traditional wedding. Every Tuesday on Instagram, every Tuesday on Facebook, 6 p.m. UK time, every Tuesday on Facebook. ETO IGBEYAWO, tó fún mi lóye. Let's talk traditional wedding. ETO IGBEYAWO, tó fún mi lóye. Let's talk traditional weddings. Ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò yìí, èyí tèmi nílé lóko lẹ́yìn òde. Mo kára lé, mo kérò ọ̀nà, mo kọ́kùnrin, mo kóbìnrin, mo kọ́mọdé. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni mo kí àgbàlagbà wípé ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò yìí. Lórí ètò wa, ètò yín, ètò kan náà tí gbogbo wa mọ̀ sí ètò ìgbéyàwó. Let's talk traditional weddings and more with Bùnmi Darius. Àwọn gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìṣe wa lórí ètò yìí kó tó di pé a tẹ̀síwájú, ṣé lè pé ẹ kájúbọ̀ ọba kọ́dà ayé ni, ọba ṣẹ̀dá ọ̀run, ọba lánàá, ọba lẹ́ni, ọba títí ayérayé kọrin kése, ọba tó jẹ́ kó ṣe ṣe fèmí àti yín láti dágbére pé àwọn lọ́sẹ̀ tó kọjá tàtún wá débi láyé láàyè àti láyè rere lẹ́ni àti láyé àtàlàfíà ẹ̀rí pàrọ̀ fáyọ̀ bí òṣọpẹ́ pẹ́ ìyìn ògo ni fọlọ́run ọba. Father, we give you praise, we give you honor. I want to thank you for the life of these amazing people that have joined me on this show and those that are still going to join me. I really appreciate you for them. And I also want to thank you, God of heaven and earth, for the faithfulness you have showed unto us on this show. Thank you for everything, oh God. And Lord, I also want to thank you for sparing an episode. Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, I also want to appreciate the amazing people that are supporting this show. Chorus Jewelries and Laces. Ilé-iṣẹ́ tó gbangba sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn níbi tó ti ń taṣọ ìyàwó, tọmọ ìyàwó lẹ́fẹ́ ni, tìyá ìyàwó lẹ́fẹ́ ni, tọkùnrin ní tobìnrin, tọmọdé lẹ́fẹ́ ni àbí tàgbà. Ohunkóhun tó bá fẹ́ fi ṣayẹyẹ ẹ kàn sí ilé-iṣẹ́ Chorus Jewelries and Laces. Kódà wọ́n tún ní ẹ̀ka ilé-iṣẹ́ wọn kan tí wọ́n ń pè ní Ready to Wear by Chorus Jewelries and Laces. Thank you so much, Chorus Jewelries and Laces. We appreciate your support day in, day out. Also, as of first ìdúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ilé-iṣẹ́ Lizelle Fabrics all the way from Dallas, Texas. Thank you, Lizelle Fabrics. Also want to thank you for Celebration International Magazine. Do you want your event on a magazine? Are you looking for a good photographer and a videographer that can come and cover your events without any delay? Your events will be on for years and years and your video will still be intact. Contact Celebration International Magazine by Babs. They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram. Also, we want to appreciate the amazing First Rate Global. If you're not in my Raleigh, New Nigeria, New Ogun State, please, if you're looking for reputable people that can help you get the property that you can rely on, contact contact the First Rate Global. Nishagam, they are there. They are on Facebook as First Rate Global, and also they are on Instagram as First Rate Global. I also want to appreciate the amazing Royal Vogue. Royal Vogue, Royal Vogue, very unique, classy, and simple outfit. Contact Royal Vogue on Instagram. Thank you so much, Royal Vogue. Thank you for all that you have done. Also, I want to appreciate the amazing people that join me every single week, week in, week out. In fact, I have no idea how I'm going to be able to show my appreciation to these amazing people. Mommy Ayodele Oguns, thank you so much, ma, for your unending support. In fact, she doesn't always join this show alone. She will join, she will send reminder to people, and she would also contribute. Thank you so much, ma. And to those that already joined me as well, thank you, delectable people. Thank you so much. Please, as I would always ask us for this favor every week, please, if you can hear me, help me to share this show. Share. Click on the share button. And if you know anyone that would normally be on this show and they are not here, please remind them. To the glory of God, we are on all 3 platforms tonight. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on YouTube as well. Thank you so much, Mommy Joanne Olukon. We miss you so much. It's so great to have you back, ma. God bless you. So please, ladies and gentlemen, click on the share button. Thank you, ma. Mommy Ayodele goes, oh, white, over there. Thank you so much, ma. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are in for a very sensitive and very important topic tonight. Yes, I know, Mommy Joanne Olukon, I understand, ma. A very important topic. Somebody might be wondering, kí ni ẹni ṣe pẹ̀lú ètò ìgbéyàwó? Kí ni ẹni ṣe pẹ̀lú àṣà ilé wa? As at the time that we were young, this thing has been on. But before I unveil today's topic, let's quickly go to our music, even if it's just for a couple of minutes. Let's just listen to the music that we have today. And then we'll take things on from there, because sometimes
I mean, not even sometimes, I always love to kind of start. I like to start by playing a short music. Thank you for joining by Ashabi. Please, everybody, can you please click on the share button? If you know anybody that will be on this show, please kindly remind them that the show has started. And please do me a favor, make sure that you contribute, say something throughout this show, and God will bless you. God will bless you as you do that. Okay, let me play my small music. Okay, we started that music right from the music before the time. Oh, mommy, look up. We really miss you. Hey, oh yeah, hey, Timmy. Oh yeah, let's go there. Hey, lọkùnrin lè mú mọ́ra. Ìgbà kan gbéyàwó òun ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ o. Ohun gbogbo lọkùnrin lè mú mọ́ra. Ìgbà kan gbéyàwó òun ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ o. Kí ló máa ṣẹlẹ̀? Kí ló máa ṣẹlẹ̀? Kí ló máa ṣẹlẹ̀? Kí ló máa ṣẹlẹ̀? Ọ̀rọ̀kùnrin á máa gbọ̀n pẹ̀pẹ̀pẹ̀pẹ̀. Ọ̀rọ̀kùnrin á máa gbọ̀n kẹ̀kẹ̀kẹ̀kẹ̀kẹ̀. Ìjọba. Ojú ọkùnrin á máa wò bákan-bákan. Ojú ọkùnrin á máa wò bákan-bákan. Ara obìnrin á máa ta wàyíwàyíwàyí. Ètè ọkùnrin á máa gbọ̀n pẹ̀pẹ̀pẹ̀pẹ̀. Ṣé ìwọ lè gba àlùkò? Èmi ò ní lè gbà rárá o. Ó yá sóde. Ó yá. Ìgbéyàwó mi ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ lẹ́rú. Kọ́gbọ́n mi ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ mi ò ní lè gbà o. Ó yá. Ṣé ìwọ lè gbà rárá o? Èmi ò ní lè gbà rárá o. Ó lé wọn mi Ayọ̀délé ìgbàsí àmọ́ mi ọdún kan. Where's everybody else? Kí ló máa ṣẹlẹ̀? Kí ló máa ṣẹlẹ̀? Kí ló máa oh, people should not call me yet. They shouldn't call me yet. They are interrupting. Kí ló máa ṣẹlẹ̀? Ara ọkùnrin á máa gbọ̀n gbẹ̀gbẹ̀gbẹ̀gbẹ̀. Ara ọkùnrin á máa gbọ̀n gbẹ̀gbẹ̀gbẹ̀gbẹ̀. Ojú ọkùnrin á máa wò bákan-bákan. Ojú ọkùnrin á máa wò bákan-bákan. Ojú ọkùnrin á máa gbọ̀n gbẹ̀gbẹ̀gbẹ̀gbẹ̀. 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 I just love this, our father. That's coming from the legend himself, Chief Commander Ebenezer Obey. You see, mommy go rẹ́rìn pé ha lórí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí náà. Ẹgbọ́n orin tó kọ yẹn o. Wọ́n ní ṣé ìwọ lè gbà rárá o. Èmi ò ní lè gbà rárá o. Because boss band mi ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ lẹ́wí. Ọkùnrin kankan nílé ìgbà kan gbéyàwó òun ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀. Wọ́n ní pé gbogbo nǹkan lọkùnrin lè mú mọ́ra. Wọ́n ní ohun gbogbo lọkùnrin lè mú mọ́ra. Kò lè gbà kan gbéyàwó òun ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ o. And this, our father also sang another song that says, obìnrin kan ṣoṣo, ọkùnrin lè láyà mẹ́fà kò burú. Obìnrin kan ṣoṣo lọ́ba lúwa mi yàn fọkùnrin. But having said that, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking here about a question. Today's topic is about a question, so to speak. And if we have seen in recent time, thank God for social media. A lot has been happening. I have a lot of clips, especially clips from Alhaji Oriyomi and that. I'm sure some of us must have seen it flying around. When people will come, in fact, there was one that was recent, when a woman actually had 4 children in a marriage, and all 4 children does not belong to her husband. It was a tough one. A woman actually had 4 children in a matrimonial home, and the 4 children does not belong to her husband, and the husband is not even aware. Now, a lot of like that had happened recently. If you're conversant with social media, and you know how many people have inboxed me these days, people inbox me, or they want me to bring some topics, and I'm like, it's not really my area of, but sometimes it might be of interest just to bring it up on board. Let's have a conversation about this, about people having children in their matrimonial home and the children does not belong to their husband. Now we're talking about, should we make DNA, should it be made compulsory to every marriage? What happens when, if for example I have a child and then my husband insists, okay, we want to be in fresh DNA, what's going to happen? What's the implication of that? And what can it cost in marriage? You know, those are the things we're going to be looking on tonight, because the woman in question, the husband actually loved her, trusted her so much. In fact, everybody that surrounded them, they were shocked to say, Yalagbaja ironi. Because as far as we are concerned, this woman is very, very decent. She's not the type to man look kakakiri, not knowing Yalagbaja actually look kakakiri. And guess what? Those 4 children does not even belong to one man. You know, it's that bad. And after that, a lot of other cases have come up where DNA has proven that certain children does not belong to their so-called biological father. Now, we decided to come on board to talk about this, and I'm going to just leave it open. I know that it's a very quiet evening today. We don't have a lot of people on board yet. I know that a lot of people will eventually come on this show, and because people now start coming towards the end. They will now start talking. They want us to go back to the beginning. What are you guys talking about? I've missed out, so I'm late, so blah blah blah. I understand it's a weekday. People go to work and everything. But what if a husband actually asks their wife to go for DNA? I mean, what kind of reaction is the man likely to get from that for that kind of woman? And now, talking about, I always like to relate whatever topic we bring on this show, whether it sounds modern or it sounds like what has been happening back in the days, or I always like to relate it to our traditions and culture. Now, before I say anything at all on that, I know we have some elderly ones on this show. Thank you for joining me, ma'am. Handmade for you. Thank you, ma. Afolashi Crown, thank you for joining me. Now, let me ask this question. Having DNA done after childbirth, does it have anything to do with our culture and our tradition? Please, I always love to hear responses from people. You know, there are some things that people are doing nowadays that will say, hey, oh girl, I need to bajeo. You know, mani koko shepe lasha iluwake. I mean, why are you bringing that kind of thing into our tradition? It's not part of our tradition. Why are you doing that? Now, I want to throw it open first of all. You know, having DNA done in marriage, does it have anything to do, I mean, after childbirth in marriage, does it have anything to do with our tradition and culture? Is it something that has been practiced from time immemorial, or is something that's just, you know, came up in this modern day and age? Now, if it's something that's been happening back in the days, why do they do it? How do they go about it? Especially in the days where there were no technology, you know. I would please appreciate if we can, you know, we can just say something about this. Whatever you think, what do you think? Is it something that has been during back in the days, or is something that just, you know, that just came up suddenly that people started doing? Or does it have anything to do with our culture? Does it have to do anything to do with our tradition? That's where I want us to actually approach this from before we start going deep, because I am a custodian of culture. I'm a custodian of tradition. I believe so much in campaigning that our tradition and our culture should not die. And there are some things that we borrowed from other people's culture that are good for us, and there are some that are not good for us that we actually need to eradicate and abolish. But there are some practices that we also used to have that is not good for anybody that we need to abolish. Now, let's talk about this. The issue of having DNA tests done. Is this something that has to do with our tradition, number one? Does it have anything to do with our culture? Is it something that we used to do back in the day? If we used to do it, if our forefathers used to do it, how did they do it? That's number one. Number two questions. Why would anybody want to do a DNA in a marriage, in a you know, when somebody have a child that is in marriage? Not that I'm dating somebody or I'm a girlfriend, or no, you sure. I'm talking about someone that is in marriage. how do I do DNA? I mean, how did that person feel? Ipe mo ń béèrè lọ́wọ́ pé kóun wá ṣe DNA. I mean, those are the things that I want us to talk about tonight. Please, if you have anything to say, please feel free to say it. I don't want us to look like, oh, kí ló mọ ìgbé wa lálẹ́, kí ló kàn wá pẹ̀lú DNA, àbí kí ni ó kàn wá pẹ̀lú DNA. And I hope I'm not going to be stoned tonight for bringing this topic on board. But whether we want to believe it or not, this is something that is really, really, really happening in marriages nowadays, and we are hearing a lot of information online. We see people bringing themselves online saying, I'm not sure whether the paternity of this child. Now, talking about the paternity of a child, we are going to the aspect of the woman. Let's talk about the man now. A man that is doubting the paternity of their child. Is it in our culture? If there is no trust, why not? Okay, thank you, ma. Hey, Yawo Babatia, Tarela Aganti, thank you so much for joining. Mommy Olukon says, if there is no trust, why not? Now, the question we are talking about here, for those of us that just joined, we're talking about if it makes sense for us to be talking about DNA tests in marriage. Then we are asking a question: DNA, is it something that is a modern thing? Àbí kọ́ta kò ní dé gbọ́ta à ń ṣe ni àbí kọ́ tí wọ́n ti ń ṣe nígbà ayé àwọn bàbá wa ni nígbà ayé àwọn bàbá wa kí nìdí tó fi ṣe DNA? How did they do DNA? Did they actually used to have that? Then Mommy Olukon says, or if the trust has been broken, why not? Thank you so much, ma'am. So waiting for people to respond. While I'm waiting for people to respond, maybe 1 or 2 minutes, I will see if I can play this music, talking about whether this thing has been happening during the days of our father or not. You know, oh, people Shelley. Let me bring that music on. There's a particular part of this music that I really like that talked about DNA, so to speak. You know, ìmọ̀ tó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ o. Òun mọ̀ pé bí kan wà nínú orin yìí tó ti sọ̀rọ̀ nípa nǹkan tá à ń béèrè question nípa yìí. I want to see. Now let's see this. Let's see. I want you to listen to this part of the I want us to listen to this part of this music. Ìyàwó sì kí kọ́ bá mú ìyàrá tí ó ní iná wá wá ṣàdúrà ìyàwó sínú omi wá lómi tó mú ìgbà ní látòrí lọ títí lọ dẹ́sẹ̀ ìyàwó láyé kọ́ṣọ́ wá nítorí kó má bà nìṣó nílé ọkọ civilization ló jájà ìlú dada ìlú ọ̀làjúlé làwọn àgbàgbé àṣà ìdílé wa ọ̀làjúlé làwọn àgbàgbé àṣà ìdílé wa civilization ló jágbà gbogbo dada ìlú. Ọ̀làjú ṣàlàṣe òyìnbó ló ṣèwé ìdìbò ọ̀làjú ṣàlàṣe òyìnbó ló ṣèwé ìdìbò ọ̀làjú ṣàlàṣe òyìnbó ló ṣèwé ìdìbò ọ̀làjú ṣàlàṣe ọ̀làjú ṣàlàṣe. Okay, let me pause this music there. There's a part of this music where that's, by the way, by the legend himself, Alhaji Saheed Òṣùpá. That music is called Ọ̀làjúdé. Some of the things that he said in this music is that ní ayé àtijọ́ àwọn kan wà tó máa ń ṣe kódà ó ní orò tó máa ń ṣe fún ọmọ, and somebody has just mentioned it. Thank you for mentioning this. Baya Shabi, she said that back in the days they used to do what is called orò ìdílé. Yes, they used to do that back in the days. In fact, nowadays the only reason why somebody will want to have a DNA test done is when trust is broken, like Olukon had said, is when trust is broken. But back in the days, whether you break trust, you don't break trust, there are some families that actually generally believe that for every child that is born in that family, they don't care how honest or how sincere or how faithful that wife is, they will still do a check their own way called orole, where they will know whether tó bá jọmọ ọkọ tó bá jọmọ àlè wọ́n máa mọ̀. It's in fact, if you don't want that done to you back in those days, you don't marry to that kind of family. Now, coming to to answer the question that says, kí ló ti pè DNA yìí, ṣé ọ̀làjú yìí ló la fi dé díẹ̀ ni àbí nǹkan tá a ti ń ṣe láyé àwọn bàbá wa ni? I'm just wondering, for a family to actually have a permanent tradition about their members of anybody that married to that family, that wọ́n bá ṣe ń bí wọn lè báyìí ó ní orò ìdílé tó máa ṣe tó máa fi mọ̀ bí ọmọ yẹn jọmọ ọkọ àbójọmọ àlè. There must have been something, if you go and trace that kind of family, there must have been a serious issue that happened that made the family insist wípé láti sìn lọ gbogbo obìnrin tá a bá fẹ́ ọba faithful ọba má faithful abẹ̀rẹ̀ sí máa ṣe DNA in our own way fún wọn. It must have been an history behind that particular thing, and if you don't want that done to you as a wife, you don't marry to that kind of family. And trust me, those traditions are still existing in some places till now. tó jẹ́ pé tó bá ti fẹ́ wọn báyìí kò sí ní o bá bí 100 fún gbogbo 100 yẹn náà máa ṣòro ilé tó bá fi mọ̀ bóyá ọmọ ọkọ àbọ̀mọdé. Now it's about how accurate is that. That's another issue that we need to talk about for another day. Now somebody said if the child doesn't belong to the family, they can tell. Yes, you are right, by Ashabi. There are some family like that. Now let me read what Yababa said. In the olden days, when it is done in some parts of Africa culture, it's kind of different to know if the child is a true child of the family. Thank you, ma. Is a true child of the source. Okay, thank you, ma. Somebody said, hey, thank you, ma. Okay, go and stop people. God bless you, ma. Now, according to Tarela Aganti, she says DNA test has always been. Thank you, ma. It has always been there, even in the days of old. Thank you. It was only done in a different way. It was done by swearing in the whether Babalawo's house or a shrine, or the wife was mostly accused. Now, that has actually answered. Everybody has said it's right. This has actually answered and confirmed the fact that this DNA thing that we're talking about is not just something that is happening in the days of Olaju or civilization or whatever. It's something that has been happening in the days of our fathers. There are some that they would do it to them if they doubt the paternity or the trust is broken, but there are some that it is their permanent thing to that family. Pé anybody tó bá ti fẹ́ yàwó tó bá fọ́kọ sínú ìdílé yìí o dandan àforí àfọ̀rùn wọn gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe orò ìdílé láti fi mọ̀ bóyá ọmọ ọkọ ni àbọ̀mọ àlè. Now, coming to this day and age, I think one of the reasons that anybody would do, if you agree with me, if anybody disputes, please tell me. One of the reasons why people would do DNA tests nowadays is if trust is broken. That's one of the major reasons why anybody would do DNA nowadays. Now, hearing from that history of the woman I've just spoken about, this happened in Ibadan recently, and it's not just one, it's not just two, about few situations like that they brought the case to this Agidigbo radio, where women that have been living in their husband's house for years and years, they suddenly surprisingly discovered that the children they've been having, one actually have four, 1, 2, 3, 4 for her husband, and 4 of them were not, they don't belong to her husband. And at one point she had to confess that it's true, and then she started giving all sorts of excuses. She said one of the excuses why she did what she did was because her husband couldn't perform, so because of that she wanted to cover her husband's shame, which I don't understand why. You should have just left that kind of man, in my own opinion. Now let's talk about this. Should DNA now be made compulsory? Because it has become so rampant, it's happening so much. I heard about a man that shot his wife to death because he suddenly realized that out of the 3 children that the woman had for him, only 1 belongs to him. The 2 other ones belong to somebody else. And that man got angry and shot his wife. Instead of killing somebody, I don't even know, people are going dojuko. Although gẹ́gẹ́ bí nǹkan tí olórin kan sọ fún wa, ó ní àbòsí ti dáyé ọ̀nà ti jìnrìn, kì í ṣe ti dáyé ọjọ́ ti pẹ́. It's not something that just started happening. It's something that has been happening so far away. And I'm just wondering, should we now say because it's happening? Because this thing is causing a lot of trouble in marriages, it's causing a lot of suspense. You know that when things happen, people start saying, I know majority of us on this platform are Christians. Even in some Christian situations, we've seen where couples, the man suddenly realize that the children does not belong to him, that kind of person, what should they? So should we make it compulsory? If my husband suddenly asks me that, how should I feel? How should that make me feel? What are the implications? What's going to cause? What is it going to cause? Now, if you now do the DNA and they realize that the child actually belongs to the man, how will it now be? Is it because of, I don't even know. I just wanted us to talk about it because everyone has been talking about it and say, enjoy, people, you need to talk about this. Now, waiting for people to respond on this as well. Now, what about, because sometimes I always like to look at the two sides of the coin, because there are certain things that the society has almost made, they've always normalized that, well, when a woman try that kind of thing, the woman gets in trouble. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not saying that any woman should indulge in adultery. Even if your husband is indulged in adultery, I don't believe that a woman should say, we're not shit here, if you know my shit, you told you back away, to ṣe bí òwe àwọn àgbàlagbà lórí ètò yìí o. Wọ́n ní kọ́kùnrin tàtọ̀rìn, kóbìnrin tàtọ̀rìn, káwọn ẹni tó máa lómi lẹ́yìn ẹsẹ̀ jura wọn lọ. Adultery is not good for anybody. So they can't say, I'm going to cover because of that I'm doing my own. But now, let's look at it from this perspective. What about situations where a man is secretly having children outside wedlock and the woman gets to know? I mean, what should that kind of woman do? Because there are some things that the society will just say, when it comes to men, they are allowed to do certain things. Welcome on board, Twinny Alaga. Thank you so much for joining. Frances, I can't say that name properly. Please pardon me. Thank you for joining. Sekina Teller, thank you so much for joining me. Solex, thank you so much for joining. And if I omitted your name, please pardon me. For those of us that are just joining us, what we are talking about tonight is DNA test in marriage. Should it be made compulsory? Because there have been so many instances recently of marriages that are breaking because they suddenly realize that the children in the marriage does not belong to the man. The woman has been doing all sorts of things behind whatever. We've seen where somebody actually shot and killed his wife out of anger because he suddenly realized that that kind of thing. And we also threw it open and asked the question that DNA thing, is it our thing? Does it have anything to do with our culture and our tradition? In the days of our fathers, did they do DNA? Why were they doing DNAs back in the days of our fathers? And we've been able to establish the fact that it's not just something that is happening nowadays. It has always happened. It has happened because, of course, lack of trust. And somebody has said that the way they did it back in the days was that yes, I don't know how to explain that in English. There are some rites, that they perform, the traditional rites that they perform. And back in the days, they used to use that to detect whether the child belongs to the family or not. And there are some people that do it just because they suspect a woman, and there are some family that do it for every single woman they marry. And if you trace that kind of family, there must have been an incident or an occurrence at one point, that will make them to say, okay, you will go faithful, to ba bimo, ama yewo, boya ọmọ yìí ti wà ní àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́, tí wọ́n lè ṣe ìṣòro orò ìdílé yẹn di ọ̀la nínú irú àwọn ìdílé bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. Even though nowadays you have to be careful because a lot of people are corrupt. Back then there was sincerity, there was honesty. Now it's so difficult because even the DNA can be manipulated. The real DNA can be manipulated. Now let me read comments. Thank you so much, Sekina Teller. She says, good evening, Ma. Thank you. Beautiful you as usual. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Father's name is added to the birth certificate. Wow. She thinks that DNA should be performed at birth before the father's name is Then somebody said, hearing and seeing cases every time is heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking, and it's causing trouble in homes. It's making some men to become unnecessarily paranoid. Thank you. That kind of thing. Trust is beginning to shake. People are beginning to get paranoid. Mommy says the rich and mighty can manipulate anything. Yeah, the rich and mighty can manipulate anything. Then there could be errors, So if any DNA is going to be done at birth, at any point in time, Manipulation can take place. We've seen a lot. Then also, errors can happen. We've seen that happen as well. Now, let me read what Sekina said. She says, making it compulsory and regular practice will remove the awkwardness of fears. Thank you. Thank you very much. I mean, if it's something that everybody is done to anybody, kò sọ̀rọ̀ pé èmi only did kọjú sí mi, èmi not target. It's something that is compulsory. So she is of the opinion that DNA test should be made compulsory at childbirth, as in tó máa ṣe ń bímọ báyìí gbogbo àwọn tó ṣe ń ṣe pre-heal test àbí kí wọ́n máa ń ṣe tó ṣe lè pé they should also do DNA test in order to remove this unnecessary suspect, because ayé ti torí kò dáa àwọn nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nísìnyí kọ́lọ́run kó ṣàánú fún wa. Then also ìyàwó bàbá, I think that ìyàwó bàbá is supporting that particular opinion. Now ẹ jẹ́ ká fèsì apá àtàwọn ọkùnrin, nítorí pé nígbà míì ó máa ń ṣe mí ní kàyéfì. It bothers me sometimes. And I'm like, what is it about women? What did we do wrong? It looks like every law is almost against women. To me, I personally feel that we're being targeted more. And there are certain things that a woman dare not do. Well, what is bad, whether it's done by a man and a woman, you understand? But the way the society hammer women when some things are done is ridiculous. Now, let's talk about how do I react. You said DNA should be made compulsory, to woman should be clear, and any woman that is found out that this is not your own child and blah blah blah. Now, how do you handle a situation where as a woman you just realize that your husband is having secret children outside? We've seen cases, a lot of cases, tó jẹ́ wípé níjọ́ tí bàbá yẹn bá dàgbà tó bá darúgbó, tí ìyàwó ti rò pé èmi àti àwọn ọmọ mi ni o, ọmọ méjì ni mo mọ̀. There was even a woman of God that was talking about it recently. I was trying to look for that clip to play. The woman said one day a lady just turned up, Agbalagba. He said the lady is actually older than, the only one that is older than that lady is the first child. The man has had the child outside secretly. And this is a woman of God, this is a man of God. It's just so pity that I can't remember the name of that person. I would have brought out the clip. She said she was like, what? This man just suddenly came up. Someone that you've always thought that, okay, me and my husband, the number of children we have are just 3. And suddenly you see a woman turning up with 3 other children, saying, I'm also Mrs. Lagbaja, and I'm also. How do you handle such situations? How do you handle such situations? Now, I'm not trying to raise anybody's like somebody said, he said new fear unfolded or something like that. You just unfolded another. No, this thing happens and we need to talk about it. Thank you so much. Hey Kitty, you saw that, mommy. I personally will not agree to DNA. If there is no trust, then there is no marriage. Thank you. Sorry, but my opinion. Thank you so much, man. Well, yeah, that's from Pastor. Let me accept this. Let me accept this, please. Please bear with me. I pray this comes up. So, hey, this is Lizelle Fabrics all the way from Dallas, Texas. This is Lizelle Fabrics, everybody. Why is this not letting me accept this person now? No man shaking, Somebody was trying to join, and I don't know why it won't allow them to. Okay, I've sent the request. Maybe if you accept from there, that would be better, because it's not letting me accept you. Yeah, the person was Pastor Christy. Okay, the person is called. Hello, good evening. Good evening. Welcome on board. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Good evening.
Always. God bless you.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry I don't make today, but
it's okay. Thank you. Everybody, can you hear her, please? Can you hear my caller?
On the earth. And then one day discovering that those children are no. There's no two ways about it. But in the case of infidelity from a man, the wife will rarely be forced or tricked into raising any children that are the result of that man's infidelity. Whereas infidelity on the woman's part will result in children that man is forced or tricked to raise for however many years. So it will remove the element of testing that
Hold on a second, Sakina. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second, Sakina. Hold on a second. Somebody is saying they can't hear you. Can everybody hear? Can you hear now? It's a little bit low, to be honest. Would you be able to move closer to the phone?
Oh, I'm speaking right using WhatsApp. I'm probably using a different method now.
Okay. Someone said, okay, try and see if you can call in directly because people say they can't hear you, and I really want them to hear what you're saying. Okay, she said she's gonna call back. I just want us to, yeah, they said it's not clear. Even me, I could barely hear from here. So hopefully, okay, let's hear this time around. Maybe, yeah. Hello.
Hello, my better.
Yeah, it's better now, guys. Can you hear? Can you hear now, Maz and Saz? Can you hear her now? Can you hear her now?
Is it any better?
Yeah, it is better here, definitely. So I want to be sure that people can hear you. I actually hear you better now.
Okay,
yeah. Okay, yeah, go on. Yeah, people
yes,
can.
I'll just repeat my second point, which is that whilst infidelity is wrong on both parts, everybody knows that there's no two ways about it.
Yeah.
But when there's infidelity on the part of the man, the woman is rarely tricked or forced to raise any children that are the result of such infidelity. Yeah. The problem is when there's infidelity on the woman's part, she will now bring any children or that result of that infidelity and trick or force the husband to raise such children for 30 years before the truth eventually comes out, if he does come out. And also, DNA testing, if you make it a customary or just a normal practice before the baby even leaves the hospital, it even pacifies both parties because we've heard of babies being switched at birth. So both the mother and the father should partake in the DNA testing, and it even be something for the woman to be proud of as well, that the man cannot shirk his responsibilities later and say that I suspect the children.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'll actually try and repeat if people said they can hear. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. God bless you. Okay. A lot of people said they could hear what she said, but I could just echo it what she said. She was saying that let's put infidelity aside. That sometimes it's good to clear the air. And also she was talking about if infidelity happened on the part of the woman, the man is unfortunately made to raise a child that does not belong to them for years and years before they suddenly realize that this is not my child. We've seen people that have raised, if you listen to what happens around, you'll be shocked. We've seen a man that, like the one I just told you about, he single-handedly raised 4 children that does not belong to him. But if it is the other way around, most likely the woman is not going to be the one raising that child. For example, if the man is actually having children outside wedlock, it's probably going to keep it outside. The mother of the child is going to raise that child, unlike if it happened in the home. Now, we know that most of us on this platform may actually find this conversation awkward because we are Christians. We believe that we are Christians. Some of us are Muslims that are really devoted. There are some people that have the fear of God. But whether we want to believe it or not, even in some Christian homes, this is happening. Like the example that I just gave, Pastor Christy, she did not hide it. Pastor Christy is a pastor, a big name pastor, that was talking about how her husband suddenly turned up one day with a grown-up child, saying she had that child outside wedlock and has been keeping it a secret for so long. But like what Sekina said, in that case, the woman is not going to be too pained because she didn't help to raise the child. But in the case of a man, if the woman is bringing infidelity into the home, is the man that will raise the child. We know that these things should not even be mentioned. But unfortunately, it's happening. It is happening. And I just pray and I hope and pray that God Almighty will just help our this generation. And trust me, when I say this generation, the reason why it's so obvious in this generation is because social media now exposes a lot of things. You know, a lot of things. Mommy Susan, I hope you got that summary, ma. I tried to summarize it. Now, a lot of things that have been happening back in the days, even if you listen to that Alaji Oriyomi, you will see where a child is being molested by his own father and stuff like that. It's not a topic for tonight, you know. So sometimes these things back in the days, they're like taboos. You can't mention it out. And even if you mention it out, it cannot go beyond the family. But now people come on social media and it looks like, yay, our generation yìí ti bàjẹ́ o, gbogbo nǹkan tá a gbọ́ rí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ sí ó ti ń ṣẹlẹ̀ tipẹ́. like that songwriter by our father Ebenezer Obey. Wọ́n ní àbòsí ti dáyé ọ̀nà ti jìnrìn kì í ṣe ti dáyé ọjọ́ ti pẹ́. All these things have been around. Irú eléyìí àfihàn ìrọ̀rùn ni. Tí kò bá sí nǹkan báyìí ní ayé ìgbà àwọn bàbá wa, wọ́n ní máa ṣòro lé. Àwọn rolé kan tó fi máa mọ̀ bóyá àwa la bí ọmọ yìí, ọmọ yìí ò ń ṣe tiwa, wọn ní máa ṣe ká ní pé kò sí nǹkan báyìí láti gbà yẹn. It should not even be mentioned among us. It's a horrible thing. Somebody said DNA báwo pé where is the trust? Of course there should be trust in marriage. Without trust, then the marriage should just be ended. But unfortunately, it is happening. It's happening. Thank you so much, ma. Let me read what this my beautiful sister said. She said, men started this with their I don't know, retaliate, which is wrong. But the men end up being the most impacted. And that's what I said at the beginning of this show, that there is a saying in Yoruba, wọ́n ní kí ọkùnrin tàtọ̀rìn, kóbìnrin tàtọ̀rìn, káwọn ẹni tó máa lómi lẹ́yìn ẹsẹ̀ jura wọn lọ. Àṣà burúkú gbà ní pé ọkọ mi náà ṣáà ń ṣe, èmi náà máa ṣe tèmi. Àṣà burúkú gbà ní. In fact, infidelity should not be mentioned in a marriage. Now, I always tell people, because I'm a Christian, I'm a minister of God in my denomination, a lot of people assume that this show is about that. No, this is an open show. It's not a religious show. We're talking about reality. We're talking about things that are happening in the society. We're talking about how we can curb these things in as much as we can. We're talking about how we can get people informed. I'm indigenous, but doesn't mean that I cannot talk about certain things on this show. So it will start with me to be there. Christian. Well, no, this show is for everybody. It's not just about a Christian show. But I can always share from my own faith or my own perspective that as a Christian, that's something that will never ever happen. But unfortunately, it is happening in some Christian homes. That Pastor Chris is a well-known, renowned preacher, So her husband cheated, and the man didn't tell her for years. Oh my, it's 30 or something. And the woman now said, we're really sorry. The man said, we're really sorry. Somebody said, culture is very unfair to women. If a man has a child outside wedlock, is regarded as sowing his wild thoughts. But if a woman does the same, she's regarded as being promiscuous. Ma'am, if a man does it, the man is promiscuous. If a woman does it, the woman is also promiscuous. The fact that a particular gender did it does not make it right. It will always be wrong. And there's a popular saying that two wrongs can never make a right. Okay, she is supposed to be your con. Poison. I mean, something that you just I know that sometimes the way the society it's just that we should not make anybody feel good or feel okay for doing something bad. That's what I don't like about our society. We have an aspect of this it's still promiscuity either way. Lizelle Fabric, she said bombastic side-eye culture. Our culture does not actually they kind of castigate one and they kind of almost rob the other. That is where it is bad, but it still doesn't make it right either way. Now we brought in a segment of this show last week, because a lot of people, I don't know how many of us were here last week, a lot of people now inbox me. They bring issues to my inbox and I'm like, hey, marriage counselor, me mama got something down, A lot of people come to my inbox to say, meet the lawyers, this happened to me, can you please bring it on your show? So that I'm like, I'm not a marriage counselor, I can't be. But then I kept on receiving those kind of what's it called now, of messages in my inbox. And then recently something laid it upon my heart that you could actually bring it into the open. You never know who could have a good advice for those kind of things. And then we called it the WWD section, which means what would you do if you were in this shoe? What would you do? So we call it WWD. So we're going to be doing that for the next 10 minutes, which is going to be towards the end of every discussion. Now, the one that I brought today was somebody said, this happened to people are always saying, I'm asking for a friend. I don't know whether it happened to her, but the way she said she happened to someone that is close to her, that the person in question married to a man for a very long time, and they were together, they were doing well. The moment the man, had enough money, he now believed that the woman is not good enough for her, and the man left. And this woman has other children. The man went there and was raising this man's children with him. And then unfortunately or fortunately along the line, the woman cried, did everything. She couldn't have her husband back. And then she back home, raise the thank you, man. God bless you. Coming to thanks for joining. So she was raising her own children by herself. She focused and she did not remarry. But the man now got sick. The ailment was so much, it was really bad. And then they checked and they realized that he had what's that cancer that men have? What's that name now? The one that men are that is speculative that's got to do with the manhood. That's the cancer that the man had. And now the woman that he went to said, you know what, Osito coming. Prostate cancer. Yes, the man developed prostate cancer, and the woman rejected. The woman that he went to suicide rejected him, and people started begging this woman. Excuse me, I cannot take them. But this woman eventually took the man in back, and the person was asking me, I mean, she said she's asking of a friend, and she's getting angry that why would you take that kind of man back? Somebody said, let me laugh in the way that we please the Lord. That what? So, we are Abala WWD Lawaye, which means, what would you do? God forbid, we won't find ourselves in this situation. Or what would you have this person do? Now, this is not you got your form. It's your form. You understand? So, it's something that happened. And we know that this thing happened in the society a lot. The man will just leave and disappear. Obìnrin náà ṣe tó máa fi ọkọ sílẹ̀ nígbà tí ìṣòro bá dé àbíkẹ́ even tó kàn máa dédé lọ bí ẹ̀mí ìyá láró tó máa dé stage kan yẹn bá mi ọkọ mi ìbílẹ̀ rù mí wá jẹ́ padà sí bí whatever tó bá ṣẹlẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ mo ti repent mo ti ṣe. But in this case, this particular situation, the man developed prostate cancer. In fact, according to that person, she said that they had performed a surgery on him and the thing had to be removed. Now, this woman, she's been living her life by herself all along. In fact, just before I started this show, somebody brought something to me. Somebody sent it to me. Sent it to me just about 10 minutes before I started this show. Now let me play it.
Somebody who you know loves you enough to change your diaper. Don't sit there and choose somebody for your 20-some-year-old self, your 30-some-year-old self. You better choose somebody for your 70-year-old self. I can tell you this as a woman after 40 years. After all that my husband and I have been through, when it was time to bury my family, he had me. When it was time to bury his mother and father, I had him. When it was time to go through sickness, we had each other. When you have that person and they have proven through the time that they are with you, let me tell you something. You better prepare for this stage of your life. Mm-hmm. Somebody who you know loves you enough to change your diaper. Mm-hmm. Don't sit there and choose some.
This person is talking about choose somebody that will love you enough that will be able to change your diaper. Don't wait until that time, or don't lose that kind of person. Now, I want to read comments too. Please, I don't want us to be sentimental. Because this person is probably watching or will be watching this later. I want us to actually give sincere, honest. And you'll be more fun man, you. This other person will be more fun. It's only this man will be more fun, And it's a true life story. I'm not joking. Let me read what Lizzie Fabric said. Nursing home. You are so mean. Only nursing home straight. Bible said, we shall reap the fruits of our labor. Kilo tuku. Somebody said, his family that are begging should also look after him. That's the thing. That's the thing. Somebody said, I need him when he's hale and hearty. Okay. This situation, when I personally heard it, I was like, there are some of us that have something called Ujuanu, and they said, something like that. This is the father of your child. And I wanted to go ahead and give this person advice and say, hey, I said, you know what, before I talk, don't let me go and push this person into unnecessary, because left to people like you, I'm just saying, woman won't say that to ban capacity fear and the capacity to, as long as it's not gonna affect your own health or whatever, or it's not gonna, you can actually have this person back. From, I know all our mommies who want to that all of a sudden, please, I want to hear from the older ones, because the young generation want run your own Gen Z, want to down with the second home. Somebody said, our family tí wọ́n advice yẹn gangan. Àwọn yẹn gan náà ni kọ́ máa tọ́jú ẹ̀. Somebody said, ojú àánú kill you there. He said it will affect everything. It's draining. I know. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. Somebody said it's only women that are advised to backcam that would. The husband. So if the shoe were on the other foot, it's true. Now I actually like the angle that Sekinas is looking at it. If the table were to turn, if it was the other way around, would the man have accepted the woman back? And this clip that we just listened to said something about, if you have someone that that in my old age, if the person is in a institution, God forbid, I might not have pampers, and when you want the 120 or pampers and no pampers, but institution relation is anybody. If you know someone that stays by you, that that in your old age this person will look after me, why desert that person for enjoyment of life? I've seen this thing happening a lot too. I even saw someone that was being sent around recently on social media that this man was not Balagba. Oh, I think Ghana must go. Ghana must go. About 4 or 5 Ghana must go. And was standing in front of his wife's house and was saying, when we did the investigation, we found out that this man had left the woman and her children for years to another woman. So, the other woman was dasita. Ghana must go. And mommy, please do not open the door for our daddy. And it was going viral. People, all this online, there are online in-laws, online judges, online, they don't know the deep of the story. They will start judging, until the woman now came up and said, you're just judging me. You don't know when this woman left me in my prime when I needed him most. What if I had died? Now let me read what our aunties, this Hearts Together event, she said, it's a tough one, but the woman has to look into her heart and decide if she can take him back without bitterness. She should also ask her children what they think. Thank you so much, ma'am. Because to be honest, it's not easy. It's not going to be easy to raise. I probably would have actually said maybe nursing home, and I will be going to visit the person. But what if this person has spent all the money nursing home gone, and the woman still be the one looking like mama kúrò lélẹ̀ bàbá àwọn ọmọ mi lélẹ̀ eléyìí tó lọ báyìí kò bímọ fún. When it comes to the issue of marriage, nobody has it perfect. And nǹkan tó kọjú sí ẹnìkan, in fact kò kí ń ṣe pé ó kọ èyí sẹ́lòmíì, ó kọ abíyá, ó kọ àtẹ́lẹsẹ̀ sí ẹlòmíì pàápàá. Ọlọ́run má yẹ kí aburú kó kọjú sí wa ni. It's such a sad situation that nowadays you can hardly find perfect, regular, perfect, marriage without one of these glitch of them. But there are some things that are more pardonable than the other. As in the beginning of this show, as we have been talking about DNA, it should never even be a topic to be said. But unfortunately, nowadays things happen. And then we talked about the fact that infidelity can happen both ways. We are saying that it's still not right. Infidelity is infidelity, promiscuity is still promiscuity. It should not happen in any way. It should not be mentioned among us. But unfortunately, sometimes situations, circumstances push some people to misbehave. Some people will go and do it and they will not say, ah, can you do that money? Honestly speaking, tí èèyàn bá ní bó ṣe ń ṣe òun lèèyàn máa fi hùwà ọlọ́mọ yẹn kéèyàn ṣiṣẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ kí n ka àtọwọ́ táwọn mọ́mí wa sọ. Mommy said, well, the mistake has been done. She can consider the fact that he's still the father of her children. She can support him in whatever capacity she could. Thank you so much, ma'am. I like that. Supporting him in whatever capacity she could is better than you now, because ẹni tó ń tọ́jú aláìsàn kan ló ẹni tó ń ṣàìsàn kan ló ń ṣàìsàn, ẹni tó ń tọ́jú aláìsàn èèyàn lè wá gbé ẹrù wúwo lórí. You have to check yourself. I like that. Your capacity, are you able to? Má torí pé o fẹ́ ràn yàn kan lọ́wọ́ kẹ́mi títí ẹ wá bọ́ sí. Thank you, mommy Susan Alaga. Akobi Tush, she said, I think she should just follow her heart. Jare, cause marriage palaver get as it be. On the other hand, your fish pendant is swimming hot. Can you imagine this distraction? Lisa Fabrics. I was going to actually read that. I thought it was one of the things. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you for that compliment. Thank you so much. So, bó ti wù kó rí, gẹ́gẹ́ bí mo ṣe sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan wípé nǹkan tó kọjú sẹ́nìkan báyìí ẹ̀yìn ló kọ sí ẹlòmíì. Ọlọ́run jẹ́ ká rí nǹkan tó ju agbára wa jù, a lè rí nǹkan tó ju ẹ̀mí wa jù. Ìgbéyàwó dùn o. Akobi Tush, marriage is sweet. There are people that are really, really enjoying their marriage. There are people that are, especially those of you that are yet to marry. I get a little bit worried when I hear people that are yet to marry, listen to stuff like that and be like, marriage get as it is. How many people say marriage is a scam? Marriage is beautiful, marriage is sweet. So you can go back no more barren. But no, that marriage is a challenge. It's here and there. Kọ́lọ́n kó gbà fún wa ni. Àforítì ló gbogbo ṣùgbọ́n ìgbà tí èèyàn máa forítì tó lè bá máa pa Ọlọ́run kó ṣàánú fún wa ni. Àwa ń gbàdúrà pé gbogbo ẹ̀dá tó wà lẹ́ni tí wọ́n wà nínú ìgbéyàwó wa ò ní dàrú, ilé wa rójú, ọ̀nà wa ráyè. Gbogbo àwọn tó ń wojú Ọlọ́run lágbára Ọlọ́run ẹni gbé gbélégun ẹni ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ gbé o. But ibi tí máa fi àdàgbà ètò yìí rọ̀ sílẹ̀ ni wípé ẹ má jẹ́ ká bá wọn dáṣà competition náà máa ṣe tì ní pàápàá jùlọ àwa obìnrin. And men, this attitude, new attitude that men put up nowadays, and a man, it's in the DNA of men to cheat. It's in the DNA of men to there's something called self-control. And then there are some women out there, okay, to the saying that to a fellow woman, and kíni bàbàrà ń bẹ̀ ṣègbọ́n mo ní kò jẹ́ kíni náà jẹ ni tó bá dé kí n jẹ wàá sún tí bá ní kò sún tó bá sún màá lé ẹ dìde. Àwọn àṣà táwọn obìnrin ń dá sí nìyẹn. Mo ń bọ̀ wá Ọlọ́run kò yá lógún ọdún kọ́lọ́run kó jọ kó fún wa ṣe. Ó máa ń wòye ní gbogbo ọ̀sẹ̀ pé ká jẹun pẹ́lẹ́ ni àmọ́ òun fàwọn fún kì í gbà fún wa. Àmọ́ tó bẹ́ẹ̀ jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ mo fẹ́ fàsìkò ìdúpẹ́ ló gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n wá dá sétò lẹ́yìn. In fact, mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín. Mo tún fàsìkò náà dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo àwọn iléeṣẹ́ tí wọ́n ṣàgbátẹrù tí wọ́n dúró tì wá ní gbogbo ìgbà. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín. Ẹ ṣé ẹ kú gbogbo ìgbà. Ẹ̀yin Yọmí lílọ láti sínú lọ yìí. Gbogbo lọ kò dé kò ní bá wa. Èmi Olúwabùnmi Aya Òṣìbẹ̀rù ni mo sọ fún wa wípé ní ọ̀sẹ̀ tó ń bọ̀ ayọ̀, ìdùnnú, àlàáfíà tí mo fi yín sí òun náà ni màá tún padà wá bá yín lágbára lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run. Wọn ò nífẹ̀ẹ́ ní kankan nínú wa ṣàwátì o lágbára Ọlọ́run. Wọn ò ní dúró ìṣẹ́jú kan fún ẹnì kankan nínú wa. Ẹ ṣé ẹ kú gbogbo gbà. Wọ́n á fàsìkò sọ fún gbogbo wa wípé láyọ̀ la ó máa pàdé o. Mo ní láyọ̀ la ó máa pàdé o. Ẹ̀yin ò ní forí gún èmi ò ní fẹsẹ̀ kọ mọ́tò yòówù ká lè wọ̀ kó ní forí sọ̀gì o. Láyọ̀ la ó máa pàdé. Láyọ̀ la ó máa pàdé o. Akobi Tush, you can still watch from the beginning and leave your comments. God bless you. Thank you everybody. See you next week by the special grace of God.
Gbogbo tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ mú etí rẹ̀ traditional wedding. Ẹkún lóríṣiríṣi bẹ́ẹ̀ni kì í ṣèwé traditional wedding. Kí lorúkọ ètò náà? Traditional wedding ètò ìgbéyàwó tó kọ́ ni lọ́gbọ́n. Traditional wedding. Ṣé ti gbọ́? Ètò traditional wedding ló lọ lọ́wọ́. ètò náà. Let's talk traditional wedding, ètò ìgbéyàwó tó ń kọ́ni lọ́gbọ́n. Let's talk traditional wedding. Every Tuesday on Instagram, every Tuesday on Facebook, 6 p.m. UK time, every Tuesday on Facebook. Ètò ìgbéyàwó tó fún mi lóye. Let's talk traditional wedding. Ètò ìgbéyàwó tó fún mi lóye.
Let's talk traditional wedding. Thank you so much, everybody. See you next week by the special grace of God. God bless you. Bye.